living a simple life, something out those aches and pains from working on the farm.
Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Farms. Hey, I finally had a pretty decent sized issue with my solar setup. Last Saturday I went into the room and turned on the computer, which is run by solar power, and it didn't come on. So I went outside to check to see if I'd blown a fuse or tripped a breaker, which sometimes happens if I turn on everything all at once. And that was not the case. It was actually about 11 a.m. when I checked all this stuff, and the sun was sort of on it. So I should have had about 400 watts coming in. I wasn't in full sunlight yet, but there was no wattage coming in. Now I have that secondary little piece that measures the state of charge of the battery, and it was showing a fully depleted battery. So the battery had tripped its internal breaker to protect it from over discharge. So that's what was going on, and then it was like, okay, well, what's going on? Why is that not happening? So I left, I came back, and when the power was in full sunlight. So I should be getting about 800 to 900 watts in full sunlight at any given moment. And I was getting 230 watts. So at first I thought, well, gee, maybe there's a problem with the paneling, but I checked all that. And it turns out that the box, and here's a picture of it, I think it's AOC, no, not AOC, EOC is the name brand of that. I bought it on Amazon. I paid $169 for it, and it's 3 years old, actually 3 years and a bit. Had failed, and not completely failed, thankfully. It was producing 200 watts, but that's not enough to keep up with demands of the third of our house that the system powers. So I went online, and at first I was going to get the exact same model because, quite frankly, it worked great. Then I got to thinking about it, and a lot of the reviews were talking about how certain brands produced even more wattage or more reliable power over the long term. So I decided to pay a little bit extra and get this. This is a Renogy Rover Li. It is a 60 amp charger like the other charger was. It's going to be operating at 24 volts like the other charger was, or charge controller was. And I did get one extra thing for it. It's called the BT1. And what that allows you to do is, instead of having to go out to my little doghouse to check, status, see how the charge was for the day, all that sort of stuff, it's a Bluetooth wireless transmitter that allows, I imagine, an app on your phone. So we'll put that on my wife's phone so that we can track and see how the day is going, what state of charge is, all that stuff. So I'm going to move the camera closer in. We'll go ahead and unbox it. I'll show you whatever's in this box. And then I'm going to go and install it, and I'll show it installed. And maybe in a couple of weeks I'll do a follow-up and let you know how it's working out, especially that BT1 I'm really curious about. If you're interested in solar, if you're interested in getting into solar for off-grid applications, survivalist, prepper, whatever reason you want to do, whether it's eco reasoning or backup, like preparedness reasoning, I can say that after 3 years of having my little 1200 watt system set up that I'm really happy with it. I mean, we use it. There's 2 months out of the year that I generally power it down just because lithium ion batteries here at well below freezing. I'm just worried about damaging them, so I tend not to use them during those January and February is usually when I turn the system off. But short of that, I've been super pleased. And of course, yes, I have had to make some replacements. The charge controller, which lasted, like I said, 3.5 years or just shy of that. The inverter that I bought initially was a no-name. It failed almost immediately. It was still under the 90-day Amazon warranty. I got another one from Amazon, put it in, and it failed spectacularly in less than 6 months. So I learned a lesson. Not everything is okay to go with like lesser known or no-name brands. I went ahead and bought an Ames inverter, and it's been working great for the last 2.5 years. So there you go. All right, let's unbox this.
All right, here we are, Rover Li from Renogy. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. 60 amp, 24 volt, and MPPT. So pretty much the stuff you're looking for when you buy one of these is you definitely want to get an MPPT controller because it really helps with the amount of charge that you'll be able to get out of your panels. Regular charge controllers, like the cheap ones that cost $10 or $11, those tend to be all or nothing. So that's the big difference. All right, we got a manual. It's apparently version 1.4, and there's a whole lot for me to go through, which is not such a big deal. And then we'll get that going on. And what I do want to see is the power curve compared to the old one, so I'll compare that. And size-wise, I think it's going to be similar in size because I'm hoping not to have to modify too much. This is our battery sensor. Go ahead and take that out of the bag. So again, it's supposed to protect against charging a battery at low voltage or at low temps, but I just can't afford to take that chance. Batteries are so darn expensive. I mean, I paid nearly $1,000 for the battery that I have that I just can't afford to trust just that, especially since my battery is in a case. And so the temperature inside the case versus on the surface may be different. Now I do have a heating pad that I wrap around it in the winter that draws 40 watts. And that's why I only have to turn it off for 2 months out of the year, because a lot of times it gets below freezing at night, and that little 40 watts is just to keep it warm through the night. And then once the sun comes up, the box and the paneling heats up enough that I'm able to use it. All right, here we go. It is more, a little bigger. I'll just go ahead and pull the rest of this out. We'll lay it all out here. All right, here we go. There's our main box. Looks like there's some mounting hardware here. Oh shoot, yeah, it's definitely not going to be as easy to mount because I can't get a screwdriver in there. That was kind of poor planning on their part. I mean, honestly, that's not a very good design. All I had to do was make wings on that a little wider. That's really going to complicate it. I guess I'm going to have to pull the whole box, the whole assembly out of the doghouse that I have this thing set up in, but other than that, it's pretty nice. I will say it weighs more than the other one. Probably most of that is this heat sink on the back. It appears to be slightly deeper. I think the old one was about that deep, you know, just about that much. So it'll stick out further. Our connections here, well marked. And I think that's where you plug in the BT1. But we have load plus, battery plus, load negative, battery negative, and then those are our solar inputs. And there's our temp sensor. And we'll have to remove these two screws here to access the terminals to tighten all that down, which I will do before I go back out. So let me go ahead, I'll install it. I'm not going to show that. If you want to see how to put one together, I have videos on how to set up a solar array, start to finish. So please check those out. But let me go ahead and get it all fired up and we'll check out and see how well it does. All right, here we are out here. I do have it installed, but I did want to show you, not exactly a great day for solar. But I'm sure we're pulling in a few watts here. So let's go ahead to the little doghouse. I'll show you how I went about installing it. And yeah, we'll go from there. So here it is, got it installed. You can see, even with such crummy weather we got right now, we are at least drawing in 30 whopping watts out of a 1200 watt setup and 1 amp. So there it is, it's going in. Now I was complaining about how the mounts are recessed back here, which is still a silly setup. They did include these little brackets here, and I was left wondering as I installed these little brackets, why not just have the tabs as part of the cooling vents? But I guess that is a question I will never know the answer to. Now, battery wise, if you've not followed this channel, it's actually a 300 amp hour, but I have it set to 270 amp hour. That might be hard to see that, yeah. Not showing up very well on camera, but it is at a 79% charge. It is a 24 volt battery, so you can see I'm pulling in about 40 to 41 watts coming in right now. So that's what we got going on there. This device over here is for those 2 months during the wintertime when this setup can't be operated because the lithium batteries get too cold. Well, I can always switch over and use this. This is a direct grid tie setup. There's the BT1. And I'll cover that in a separate video, but here we go. So this is what we got. I do need to set up the final charge control for the lithium battery. So to do so is really simple. You go through and change to setup, and here we are. And the first thing that scared me when I was playing with this was that, and you'll see it here in a second, is that the the readings are not going to be right for a 24 or 48 volt system, but that's okay. So I did have battery system voltage set to auto. That comes that way from the factory, and that way we don't smoke this thing before you start off. Remember to hook the battery to this first, and so the system has a chance to power up. Because if you hook up solar first, you're pumping in all that wattage, all that amperage, all that voltage, and it has no place to go, and poof, it will blow up. It is a lithium ion. You can change that to glass pack or automotive absorb glass mat or AGM or regular, lead acid batteries. And then the capacity, again, I set this to 270 amp hours. All right, and then we go down and we have this, and these I do need to change. So I have a list that I got. I'm going to do this on camera, but I have a list that I got for this particular battery over here, and so I'll change these. But as you can see, I have a 24 volt system and everything is reading 14 volts and 15 volts and 16 volts, and I really did panic when I first hooked it up because I was like, what is going on here? Because the maximum you could set it to was 17 volts. Well, it's a miracle, but I actually took a chance and read the manual, surprise, surprise, and it turns out if I read the manual, it tells me that if you have a 24 volt system, well, then you're going to double these voltages. So just add the two together, and what we end up with is 28.8, right? So that's how it works. If I have a 48 volt, times it by 4. So that's how the system works. I would like it if it gave me accurate numbers, if it could have programmed the computer inside of here to just tell me that stuff and instead of letting me do it, but whatever, it works, it's fine. Right, and we'll go through here, float charge, low cutoff, all this stuff is available for you to change. So that's kind of cool. I'll back out of this, and we do have some other stuff, so only been powered up now for one day, and I can go in here and I can take a look. So it was a really cloudy day, obviously, but we did get 40 amp hours of charge and 1 kilowatt hour. So for a day, yesterday I actually got about an inch of rain after I installed this thing. That's why I didn't finish it up all in one day. Not bad, 1 kilowatt. Usually I pull in about 4 to 5, depending this time of year. But it was still enough to bring the battery to 100% charge. And so that was nice, right? So, but it gives you their run days, so nice little to have that information. And then there's the history, right? Lowest voltage recorded 26.3, and that's what I had when I hooked this thing up, because the other charger was not doing a very good job of keeping up with that battery. Information, serial number, that kind of stuff. Oh, you can hear it. Oh, maybe the sun's come out a little bit. Let's see. Oh no, that's the lower one, I'm sorry. That's my Ames inverter powering up, so my wife must be using something in the house, so it's starting to draw wattage. Anyway, that's it. I'm pretty darn happy with it for one day's worth of use. I will clearly, like I did with this entire system, give you some updates sporadically if things come up and it doesn't work well, or if it continues to produce well. Mostly what I'm wanting to find out is how it does on a sunny day. I want to compare the amount of kilowatts that it takes in versus the old unit. So for about, I don't know, about $120 more than what I paid for the original. So I just want to make sure that I get my money's worth, I guess that'll do it for today, my friends. Take care.